Okay, we're about to jump into an ancient fable that has this incredibly sharp message. It's a simple story, but it holds up a mirror to our own nature, and it kind of forces us to look at the rules we make for other people and, the exceptions we make for ourselves. So, let's get right into the story at the heart of this pretty uncomfortable truth.
And this quote, this is the key to everything we're talking about today. These are the words of a wolf who's watching his enemies do the exact thing he gets hunted for. It's a paradox that cuts right to the bone of hypocrisy. And I promise you, by the end of this, you are going to start seeing this everywhere.
All right, let's kick things off with the story itself. It's super simple, but all of its power is packed right into that simplicity.
And that's it. That is the entire setup. A wolf, our supposed villain, is hiding in the shadows, watching a shepherd, our supposed protector, enjoying a feast of roasted lamb. You can already feel the irony just hanging in the air, can't you?
So, let's break down the two main players here. The shepherd, he's not just a farmer, right? He represents the establishment. He's the one who gets to make the rules. And the wolf, while he's not just an animal, he's the outcast. He's the thief whose very survival has been labeled a crime by those same rules. Okay, so let's see how this tiny little fable explodes into this huge, universal principle. This is really the moment the story stops being about a shepherd and a wolf, and it starts being about, well, us.
And here it is, the core concept in plain sight, the double standard. The fable is just a perfect picture of what the source calls moral convenience. That all-too-human tendency we have to condemn in others the exact same things we allow for ourselves, just because it's us.
And this forces us to ask a really critical question. When the wolf eats a lamb, it's a crime. When the shepherd eats a lamb, it's a feast. The act itself is identical. So is justice really about the act, or is it about the actor? It shows you just how much power can bend our definitions of what's right and what's wrong.
All right, now this is where it gets a little personal. It's one thing to see the hypocrisy in a fable, but the real test is spotting it in our own lives. So let's look at a few common feasts that you might just recognize.
Just think about it for a second. When our neighbor is relentlessly driven, we call it greed. But when we do it, it's ambition. We'll criticize a friend for their argumentative tone while using the exact same one ourselves. And in the professional world, a massive company sues a little startup for using the very tactics that built their own empire. And here's the real danger in all this. Once people see that the rules don't apply to the rule maker, trust just completely disappears.
But here's the wild part. This isn't just some random moral failing on our part. This is something that's actually wired deep into our psychology. So let's take this up a notch and connect the fable's ancient wisdom to what modern science tells us.
Psychology has a name for this, of course. It's called in-group/out-group bias, and this table lays it out perfectly. When our group does something, we justify it with necessity. We had to do it. But when their group does the exact same thing, we attribute it to malice. They're just bad people. We automatically see ourselves as the shepherds and them as the wolves.
I absolutely love this line from the source because it just slices through all of our justifications. We can build laws and social norms and these super complex moral codes to feel good about what we do. But at the end of the day, the fundamental act is the same. The universe sees the lamb being eaten, and it really doesn't care who said grace first.
So the most important takeaway here is that just knowing this bias exists, that's not enough. The real work starts when we turn that lens inward. So this is a call to action, to really examine our own lives with the same sharp eye we so easily use on everyone else. So let's start with this. And seriously, take a second and actually think about it. What are the advantages you enjoy, the goals you chase after, the behaviors you permit in yourself that you would absolutely judge someone else for? What are the lambs on your plate while you're out there condemning others for being hungry?
And right on the heels of that, how consistent are you really? Think about the incredibly high standards you have for your competitors or your colleagues or even just random people online. Do you hold yourself to that exact same standard? Or do you kind of grant yourself a special pass just because you're the shepherd of your own story?
To help with all this self-reflection, the source offers a few really powerful mantras. And think of these less as nice words and more as active principles for building integrity. Imagine really living by them. Judging the action, not the actor, and holding one single consistent standard for yourself and for the entire world.
And let's end on this final and pretty provocative thought. It completely reframes how we see the monster or the villain. What if the only difference between us and them is that we have a permit to do what we do and they don't? Now that is a question we're thinking about long after this is over.